Oh my God. It started at 1 a.m.
No, it ends. It
and ended
ended.
at 1 a.m. Oh my God. How are you feeling?
Tired.
You look like
And
you're
my legs are sore.
having a great day. Well, I got nothing but good news for you today. I loved both the prologue and chapter one, which is what I got through.
Hmm.
So let me just pull up hulking out little things. Yeah, and it, I think they're mostly if you want to kind of thing like that. Oh, nothing on the prologue. I think the way you ended it with Mark, sort of where Mark's at, just sort of like calling everybody to First National Bank and just trying to contemplate what's happened. That was it. It's all it needed. Perfect. So I don't think you need to do anything. I won't even bring it up on the screen because I have no comments. I think you can go just always do that final edit polish, make sure everything is looking good on the grammar and the spelling front, and you're good to go.
Hmm. Okay.
So that was cool. Chapter one, Painful Truths, also looking really, really good. Just a couple of suggestions, more around how the reader might respond to just a couple of things that Julius says. Really minor. Let me just pull it down here. Oh, yeah. One of them is because Julius clearly is free about his feelings about the BPA, especially here in this moment. No problem. My suggestion here is not that you shouldn't have him say, the BPA is extremely stupid with his rank convention, but that if he does say that, like there's a couple of different options, and it's all around that sort of that fine line between expressing his personality as Julius would and also recognizing he's training somebody who is inevitably going to ask a question like this. If he's like, yeah, the BPA is extremely stupid. If at this point, if I was Ramona, I would probably have logged other obvious signs of his frustration with the BPA, either overtly stating it or not. And I think just because the audience may be thinking it or the reader may be thinking in your head, it doesn't hurt to have Ramona ask it because you can get like anything in a book or a movie so long as you're conscious of how the audience might be responding to it and have a character voice that. So, can I ask you a question? You don't seem to have a lot of faith in the BPA, so why work for them? She's either going to ask that, she's got to ask that at some point if she's got sort of an independent way of approaching things. And I'd love to hear. I would really love that. Would break up, potentially some of the more technical explanations that are going on in here, which I think you've done a really good job with. If she's like, "Can we just press pause for a minute, Julius? It sounds like you really fucking hate these people. Why are you working for them? Why do this?" And then that gives us an opportunity to A, answer the question, B, take a break from the technical explanation, and C, find out why Julius, like, because it's really an opportunity for Julius to expose himself and say, this is why, whatever his answer may be. Play with that. I think that could be really fun. Um, because if I had somebody who was training me that kept shit and I have kept shitting on the company, I've quit that company or I've just gone like, obviously I can't take you seriously, but I'd really rather find out why you're saying it.
Hmm.
Um, One other comment when he says, and I love that he says it, but it's also like if somebody said to me, by the way, you're probably going to be dead before, it's not a casual thing to say, even if he's saying it tongue in cheek. And I
Well,
feel
on the other hand, she just did just go through Matthias and the lurkers, so it's not really that surprising when you think about it.
and that's all I'm looking for is not that again, not that he shouldn't say it, but that like to me, if he says, I mean, statistically speaking, you'll be dead before the year is out, but hey, it's not boring, regardless of what they've been through, what they've battled. One of two responses might be her going, What do you mean I'm going to die?" Which I don't believe she'd say. I don't believe this is shocking to her. I almost want to hear her say, yeah, well, like I feel like I've died two or three times already on this trip, so what's one more? Or something along that line. Like she's been so close to death or on like effectively dead. If anybody else had kind of gone through what she'd been through, she says, "Well, or something like, yeah, well, I'm kind of getting used to dying." Like something along that line where that I think that could be funny, and plus it just sort of begs a reaction. Play with that if you want to. Dick was cut off. At first, I thought I didn't realize. Did someone just get their dick cut off? Then I realized you're talking about capital D Dick, right? The
Hmm.
guy Dick. So I thought, but it was just funny the expression. Are you intentionally saying Dick was cut off as Julius remembered? Keep it, please keep it. It's just super funny. Like when I got to that part, I went, oh, it was just perfect. Like I worded that way. Like, I just wanted to clarify that that was Dick. Diamond in the Rough, Rough for rough.
Hmm.
There is a dog store called Diamond in the Rough, but that's an intentional misspell. Um, Love this. I love like this was actually you're coasting on super strength and a grab bag of nature magic that you don't really know how to use, let alone control. I love that. That's one of my favorite things you've ever written. It's just like it's super sassy, it's really funny, and it's just really well written. And it sums up the whole issue. Like, so I don't need to get trained. It goes, look, you you're alive still, and it's partly you, but it's a lot of everybody else and a bit of luck. So come on. That I love that it's sort of grounding in her
Though
need for
I do think I have to go back and rewrite Julius's quote unquote death because that kind of takes away from his statements. Also, it kind of
fair,
reveals more of his power set than I'd like.
fair. I love that. I love that impulse. Little thing here. If this is at first, I thought, look, I'm not trying to argue with you here. I thought that was her talking. Usually, when you start a new paragraph with the beginning of a quote, it suggests the other person's talking rather than just bring the look up
Ah,
right after eyes. Little thing, so minor. Um, Love this ending. Just a little spelling thing here on I'm and bosses is technically plural rather than possessive. Great ending. I know you had it before, but it really works. And I absolutely love what you did to this council meeting. The way I feel I'm feeling a little more of the sort of the disunity in the group, the reaction of the other council members to Baker. Um, and of course the very ending, the whole flow of this meeting feels super logical. It feels exactly like the way the conversation would go, and it ends with this whole idea of thank you, you can return to duty. Think the council and I need to take some time to go over it. Yes ma'am. I love that, like the fact that he goes out like that. I almost want him to say yes ma'am and give one look over to Baker as he's leaving, and like he wants to do this.
I'd really do that. He would
Yeah, so
definitely.
yeah, so as the rest of the guys were moving out, he took one look at Baker and went, "Fuck you!" Like that's all I was looking for was that one extra little bit. Um, Let me just see here, just so I don't forget. Maybe Julius shoots B the bird, but he's so polite. I'm like, "Oh, good for you, Julius!" Like for him to walk out and say yes, ma'am. Like I know that's loaded, and it's just a perfect way for Julius to go because everybody reading this knows what he's probably really thinking. And we're like, good for you, man, keeping it professional. Because he is walking a bit of a tightrope. He's still sort of like, I'm not 100% sure where he stands or will stand with the committee, even though they seem to be okay now. And it's just a great, great ending. I'm glad that you have the two parts here, the training of Ramona, like he's given her the gears, and then he goes into a meeting where they're giving him the back and forth. So it's one of my favorite chapters you've written because it really shows the power dynamic within the entire VP. I feel like I'm getting more of the BPA. I love Julius. I love Ramona. It's just a really even chapter. So very little to critique on it. And I think it's fantastic writing.
Oh, that's good to hear.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
And I'll get into your chapter
Two.
uh, introductions for. Do you want me to hit that for next week, or do you want me to wait till you give me a new
Yeah, that's
chapter?
probably fine. It should be fine.
Okay. Well, I hope
Yeah.
you get some sleep tonight, and you're
Yeah.
not. You have to work again tonight.
No, I gotta work again tomorrow. I've got a bounce castle ticket I bought today, so I'm gonna try and do that. Get some fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Chapter two, is kind of a mixed bag. On the one hand, we have Ramona going through some monster lore, a bit of that, which will come up later in the story, very specifically.
Okay,
And then after that, we have Julius dumping her in the gauntlet because I really like that gauntlet.
that sounds good. I'm looking forward to that. Next Monday is a holiday, and I'm wondering if how you feel about bumping our session to. Does Wednesday work for you?
Um, yeah, I think that'll work. Let me just double check. So, that's not what it work. For this email. No, actually, because Wednesday I've got classes for another school thing.
Okay.
So that won't work.